when we give a prescription to patients and give certain medication to patients, they ask ఎంత పర్సంటేజ్ తగ్గిపోతుంది అని. when it's their balding అయినా కావచ్చు, acne అన్నా కావచ్చు, any hormonal issues like hirsutism, PCOS, దాని వల్ల వచ్చే acne అన్నా, excess hair అన్నా, balding అన్నా, ఏదైనా they generally tend to ask ఎంత పర్సెంట్ రిజల్ట్ రావచ్చు, ఎప్పటికల్లా రిజల్ట్ ఎక్స్పెక్ట్ చేయొచ్చు. all fair and valid questions. of course, if I were a patient, I probably would ask the same, but you will have to know there are some patients where the process is going on for a decade or more and they have not actively sought any intervention. Forget intervention. For diet and lifestyle also, there's nothing majorly being done. And second thing, the same applies to even psoriasis patients or any autoimmune diseases ఉన్న patients. మనం ట్రిగర్ తీయకుండా రిజల్ట్ గురించి ఆలోచిస్తుంటే ఎంత మాత్రం రిజల్ట్ రావచ్చు, and how are we going to help ourselves in this situation? So first, you'd be taking the medication, which is a very essential pillar and a bridge to get to where you want to go, of course. But then there are factors like diet, there are factors like exercise, there are factors like lifestyle and stress management and sleep. These are all very important variables that will determine your goal or your target, not just the medication or supplements on the prescription. It's you. More than 50%, it's what you can do. So then if that is in place, then we can expect fantastic results, because the same medication, for if you take a few different patients, they'll be responding differently. Obviously there's genetic factors which are, if they're genetically spearheaded, there's nothing much you can do. I mean, that's out of our control, right? But there is something called an epigenetic factor, ante enti, how our lifestyle is affecting our genetics so that we respond to the same thing differently. You get it? Now this whole research is geared towards epigenetics and microbiome, because we are only thinking here, oh but నేను ఒక్కసారే బజ్జీ తిన్నా కదా, నేను ఒక్కసారే డెజర్ట్ తిన్నా కదా అని కొంతమంది. బట్ దెన్ వేర్ యూ ఇట్ ఆల్సో మ్యాటర్స్. ఇట్స్ నాట్ ద సేమ్ మీరు ఇంట్లో తిన్నది లేదా బయట ఎక్కడో రీయూజ్డ్ నూనెలతో చేసి. ఇట్స్ నాట్ ద సేమ్, బికాస్ దట్స్ గోయింగ్ టు డెస్ట్రాయ్ యువర్ గట్ మైక్రోబియం. సో యూ ఫీల్ అ సర్టన్ వే ఇమీడియట్లీ ఆఫ్టర్ ఈటింగ్ ఇట్, యూ ఫీల్ అ సర్టన్ వే 3-4 hours ఆఫ్టర్ ఈటింగ్ ఇట్, బికాస్ జనరలీ మీరు ఈవినింగ్ బజ్జీలు తింటే యూ కాంట్ ఈట్ డిన్నర్ ఇన్ ద నైట్ బికాస్ ఇట్స్ టూ హెవీ, రైట్? నెక్స్ట్ డే కూడా ఒక లాగ్ అనిపిస్తుంటుంది. సో యూ నో దట్ యువర్ గట్ మైక్రోబియం ఈస్ బిన్ చేంజ్డ్. సో యూ హ్యావ్ టు ఆల్సో factor in all of these things, not just depend solely on medication, although medication has to play its role, but it's how it responds to different individuals. If it's the same medication, is something we get to see as physicians, and when we inquire in depth about it, and if the patient is being honest, then we'll see why it hasn't worked or why it has worked. And this is no different with procedures as well, even for peels, lasers, PRPs, GFC, any regenerative therapy. Generally we try and deliver fantastic results, and most of them do get fantastic results, but the number of sessions kani, again as I told you, genetic, epigenetic, and also lifestyle factors, how you sleep also is very important. So you have to consider this and factor these things in also when you ask for the percentage of results. And you should also consider the fact that this has been going on for a few years with no intervention. So something taken for 1 month or 15 days may not magically change it, because there is no magic wand. It is only medication. Everybody is trying to do their best, and I think what I'm trying to say here is you also try your best with sleep and with medication, with lifestyle changes, and not solely depend on medication or supplements, or not solely depend on the doctor. This is the advice. I did it for myself also when I was pregnant, because this is the major life milestone I've had. So, and it did not come with its complications, it came with a lot of it, and I had to go through with it. But then I chose my way. I think when my doctor gave clearance, I started working out, and then my doctor was also brave enough, I would say, and kind enough to tell me, okay, this is what you can do, this is not what you can do. And she told me, and based on those guidelines, I did have a trainer who's very kind, disciplined, also very intuitive, and he would put in his mind. And me being physician, at some point I knew, like, or not, you know, when you know your body, you're intuitive with your body kada. Then I knew what I could do. I was doing strength training throughout my pregnancy. I think even on my delivery day I did work out, and this is for some, నేను ఎందుకు చెప్తున్నానంటే there are people who can make it happen, and I was also working on my delivery day, but it's not because of any sort of strain or any sort of obligations, because I was happy doing it, and I could do it. And I would say because I was working out, and because at least in the last trimester I was eating very healthy, so it gave me the energy, the mood, the intention clinician go into work and work out and then go deliver a healthy baby and have a good process doing it, and also have a very easy recovery postpartum. So if this can be applied to pregnancy and postpartum, I'm sure it can be applied to anything, because you're not really carrying the weight of two people. You know what I mean? There is no extra weight you're carrying. It is you, so you can do it. And if there is any issue with the joints or the, get your physio or posture, go to physiotherapy first, get your posture right, and then go for strength training or any sort of exercise. Start walking, begin with walking, get into movement, dan tarvata get into mobility, dan tarvata get into exercise, dan tarvata think about your diet. All of these things really matter, and sleep again should be your number one priority. Your OTT or your movies or your socialization time or your unwinding time should not, or your doom scrolling should not interfere with your sleep. Your sleep should be your top priority. Then everything else will fall in place, because it always has. As how we've witnessed it, when people are doing everything right, everything always usually falls in place. So I'll leave you with that thought.